We're talking to Alec Saunders, Vice President for Developer Relations, and you started on this job in the end of
August of
2000,
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
So what was your goal then? What was your target? What did you want to achieve?
You know, it's really interesting. I had been running a startup that was a mobile application developer for 8 years prior to that. And I wanted to do something different. So in February of that year, I had gone to my board and said, it's time for us to go and part company and help them hire a new CEO. And what I really wanted to do is get back to working with developers. And I looked at what was going on with RIM at the time and said, you know, I think I might be able to help because I'm both a software developer myself, and for most of the 1990s, I had worked at Microsoft on very similar programs.
So what was the situation at RIM at that time?
It was very much how do I describe it? The company didn't recognize the value of building a software development ecosystem, and yet they were being hurt by the fact that others had built superior ecosystems. And they were doing a lot of self-examination and rethinking strategies. So when I came to the company, they asked me to take on the project of building a developer ecosystem around what at the time was an unnamed operating system. It was their next generation OS that was built on QNX. And we put together a strategy, and in October of 2011, at the first DevCon conference, we started to roll it out. And the strategy was very simple. It was get the news out about the new operating system. It was seed devices into market so that developers could start to build applications. And that was where I famously asked Mike Lazaridis for 25,000 playbooks, and he said, yes, you can have them. And the third part of the strategy was to push our developer relations team out of Waterloo and into the regions. It was to get them out into the places where software developers existed in the world. Because prior to that, most of the developer relations activity had taken place centralized from Waterloo. And you know, there's a very, very large population of developers that are in Silicon Valley, obviously. But a third of the world's mobile developers are actually in India and China. And so we built up teams in different geographies, in Europe, in Latin America. In North America itself, we put people into Silicon Valley the first time that RIM had any developer relations folks in the Valley. And we put them into Southeast Asia. And we've grown the team since then from about 35 people to 135 people. So it's been a pretty dramatic growth path.
Well, where do you find yourself today with the launch of BlackBerry 10? How do you measure your success? Do you think you achieved the goals that you wanted to achieve? I think 70,000 apps. It sounds like a lot for a launch event.
Yeah. In fact, I'm really pleased with where we are today. You know, the metrics that we set to measure ourselves by were developer satisfaction. They were the number of applications that were in the store, and they were the number of applications that took advantage of unique BlackBerry technologies. And so we launched with 70,000 applications, and for perspective, that's the largest catalog of applications that anybody has ever launched any product with in the computing industry, not just mobile, but also on desktop. You know, our competitors, every one of them had less than 1,000 applications in their catalogs when they launched their handsets, and they hit that 70,000 number sometime between 15 and 19 months later. So we've done that out of the gate. I think we've got a really good head of steam. There's some great momentum for the BlackBerry platform from the software development community. And in terms of satisfaction, you know, at the time when I came to the company, developers were very dissatisfied with RIM. And the current BlackBerry developer rates us incredibly highly. Strategy Analytics just published a report which scored us 8 out of 10 in terms of satisfaction with the developer program, which was the highest rating that any mobile vendor had in the industry. And in fact, 38% of the developers that they surveyed gave us a perfect 10. So that's also a really good indicator. And I think the next thing that we have to do is, over the coming year, is really focus on getting our Built for BlackBerry program, which recognizes applications that take advantage of unique BlackBerry capabilities. Really get that program rolling very well. If there's one thing I regret about our launch, it's that there aren't enough built specifically for BlackBerry applications. We've done a very good job of porting applications, and we've got a small group of vendors that have built some very, very tightly integrated applications, and we need to see more of those.
So 70,000 applications doesn't mean a lot to any individual person. They usually would run something between 20 and 100 apps that they particularly like. Do you think that you covered the bases there, or do you think there's still some holes in there? If I look at the German market, I see that Lufthansa, for instance, has an application, but there's none for the German railway, for Deutsche Bahn, which is a very important one. How are you going to fill those larger gaps then?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. 70,000 is a large number when you think about any one individual, but the thing about a large catalog of applications is, of course, it caters to many different individuals, and many people have slightly different needs than others. So the next thing that we're going to focus on is filling those gaps. It's going to be to go back out to the places in the market where there are holes and get applications built. And I feel pretty good that for most applications, with the exception of some local markets, as you're pointing out, with most applications categories, we have pretty good coverage. Even if you can't find your favorite application in a particular category, it's very likely you can find a good substitute from an up-and-comer or from a different vendor.
So in the past 18 months, you have talked a lot about a new platform that was going to be. Now the platform is here. How does that change your game?
It's a pretty sea change. It's a big shift. In the past, we've asked developers to take a leap of faith with us, that we would execute, that we would deliver on the platform. And now that the platform is in market, developers are going to start to turn their attention away from features and technologies and who else is using it towards how many customers are actually buying it. What's the size of the commercial opportunity that I can get when I work with BlackBerry? And I feel pretty good about that because we've had such a good, strong launch in the UK last week. And then, of course, I think we're going to see similar strong demand in other markets like Canada, which is launching today.
So the initial reaction to the platform has been good?
Yes, very positive, very positive.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.